have it all. I can have it all.
Hello everybody, it's Christy Whitman with the Quantum Success Show, where you can get your information and inspiration to create your desires. And I have a friend, this is a repeat offender that I've had on the show because I just love Bill as a friend, as a colleague, as a teacher. So Bill Harris, thank you so much for being with us again.
Yay!
Yay! You know, if you don't know Bill, he was one of the famous faces in The Secret, among other things that he's done in his 30 plus years of being in personal development. And Bill, I know that you've really taken a lot of your teaching to the next level by really studying like what's going on with the brain. And you have this fabulous book on super awareness, which I know you're going to give as a gift for everybody, and the link is under the video. But I would love for you to talk about, the new research that you have found, because I know that you're doing all this research so that people can have more happier lives, and be more abundant, that really live the lives that they're meant to live. And it has something to do with what we do with our brains. So can you talk about that?
I'm kind of a curator of information. I'm just geeky enough that I go and I dig into a lot of stuff I'm really interested in, a lot of which is kind of science-based, and then I kind of digest it and describe it for people. And kind of my skill is to take this stuff and describe it in a way that doesn't dumb it down, but makes it easy for people to understand and easy for them to apply this. And, as you know, I've been offering Holosync, this this audio technology that puts people into a really deep meditation. Like you meditate like a 30-year meditation veteran the very first time you do it and every time. And so I knew this was changing the brain, and so I'm looking at a lot of this brain research that's coming down the road lately, of which there is a ton of it. And so it was really because I was trying to figure out, why does Holosync work so well, and why does it have such profound changes in people, that I finally first got interested in this. The first thing that I really realized, and Daniel Amen, Dr. Daniel Amen, who's done way over 100,000 brain scans to help diagnose different problems, the same problems that everybody goes to personal growth solutions for and everything. And he told me something that I also was realizing myself. Everything starts with your brain. It sounds less romantic than some of the other explanations, but how you feel, your moods, your talents, your capabilities, the negative thinking, all the stuff that people want to get rid of, self-sabotaging beliefs, all that sort of quote-unquote negative stuff, all of that comes from the brain. Also, all the human qualities that we admire or even envy in others, and we say, I want to be more like that, I want to be happier, I want to be more creative, I want to be more compassionate, I want to be more intuitive, persistent, I want to make more money. All those things, they all come from the brain. So if you go and take personal growth trainings and your brain is not working optimally, it becomes really difficult to implement the things you learn. That's why people get all excited. They have seminar high. They go home, and then 2 or 3 months later, they realize, I haven't done anything with this. Or they learn, they go to a Jack Canfield seminar, and they learn these success principles, and then they find that they either aren't or can't implement them. So I've kind of boiled this down to 2 different parts of the brain that are mainly involved. The brain is very complicated. But it kind of boils down to these 2 parts of the brain. The first one is your limbic system, which is kind of your emotional brain. And it's really the source of a couple of things that are really not very good if it's overactive. And in today's stressful society, almost everyone has an overactive limbic system. And then they suffer these negative consequences. The first one is that it's responsible for the the very famous fight or flight response, which is great if you actually are in a life-threatening situation.
Right.
But most of us aren't. But people go into fight or flight because they can't find their cell phone. Right? I mean, everybody has had that experience.
True.
This panic you go into when or somebody cuts you off in traffic, or somebody says something that you can interpret as being an insult, or maybe it really is an insult, and suddenly you're in fight or flight. Your brain is making all these neurochemicals and hormones that are really bad for you. It's worth it if you're really in a life-threatening situation, but in most situations it isn't worth it. They cause inflammation in the body, all these health problems, and it becomes, also blood flows away from your brain when you're in fight or flight, so you lose IQ points, you can't make good decisions. And so the whole fight or flight thing that people are in a lot, then you feel bad too, anxiety, anger, sadness, all these sort of negative emotions and negative thinking.
Right.
Negative thinking is really the result of an overactive limbic system. So if you're sitting there gritting your teeth, trying not to think negative, and your limbic system is overactive, you're not going to be able to do anything about it.
So how do you...
The brain is really fundamental.
So what do we do to help our limbic system to calm ourselves down?
Well, that's where I'm going. But let me tell you about one other.
Well, let's go.
The other negative thing that your limbic system does when it's overactive is that it causes you to make what I would call "I want it now and I don't care about the consequences" kinds of decisions, where you see whatever the latest bright shiny object. It's chocolate, something in the bakery case at Whole Foods, or something you want to do. Like you want it right now, you don't want to exercise like you said you would do when you got home from work. You're just going to veg out. It's momentary decisions that do not take into account the long-term consequences. It's spending money you don't have on something you don't need. It's saying something that feels good to say to someone in the moment, but it causes you all kinds of trouble because they get ticked off and there's a separation between you we don't have time to go through the long list of those things, but that's caused by dopamine production in your limbic system, which causes you to become fixated on something and really want it, and to completely sweep aside any of the possible consequences.
Wow.
When they first found out how to stimulate the brains of these rats with dopamine, these rats would pull a lever continuously to get this, and they wouldn't eat, sleep, have sex, or do anything else. Then they made it so they had to run over an electrified grid to pull the lever, and they kept doing it till they burned their little feet off.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
And so people do the same thing. We burn up our bank accounts, our relationships, our arteries, our lungs, our health, and so on. So those, we could go into this for an hour about the negative things of an overactive limbic system. The other part of the brain that is your savior is your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for executive control, self-regulation, learning from mistakes, rational thinking, creativity. Happiness is a prefrontal cortex effect, and many other things like that. It's where willpower, delaying gratification for a future reward, all those things come from your prefrontal cortex. Unfortunately, most people have a weaker prefrontal cortex and a really overactive limbic system. And there are supplements you can take that will help with this. Breathing exercises that will calm the limbic system. There are exercise enhances the prefrontal cortex and calms the limbic system. The right amount, proper amount of sleep helps both of those. It's very interesting that it's sort of like when one is enhanced, the other calms down. When the limbic system gets stronger, the prefrontal cortex gets weaker. So the most powerful way to calm the limbic system and enhance the prefrontal cortex is meditation. Many studies about this. And I want to reiterate this one point, that when your prefrontal cortex is strong, it supervises the limbic system. When your limbic system is calmer, all those bad things don't happen. When your brain is regulated in this way, and you learn relationship skills, you learn success principles, you learn a certain how-to at a seminar, all those things that you learn or read in a book, they become easy to implement. You just get up in the morning and you start doing it. Mm-hmm. So all these problems people have doing the things they're learning really go back to having a brain that's out of balance. So now the problem with meditation is that most people won't do it.
Right.
Even people that really know a lot about all the benefits, at seminars when I talk about this, I ask how many people have meditated, and almost everybody raises their hand, and I say, how many meditate every day? And it goes down to 10%. Because it's not easy to do, and the 10% are usually people that are part of some sort of an organized group that actually meditate together. Mm. They need the reinforcement.
Yeah.
This is why Holosync is so potent, because it is totally easy. You put on headphones, push a button, and you meditate literally like a 30-year veteran every time, and it dramatically calms the limbic system. It enhances the prefrontal cortex, and all these things fall into place. And suddenly people find, wow, I am more purposeful. I am doing what I set out to do. When your limbic system is overactive, all you have to do is be a little bit tired, or it's after work, or it's been a long, and so they say, oh, I'm not going to meditate today. I'm not going to exercise today. I'm going to stay up really late tonight, even though I won't have enough sleep tomorrow. I'm not going to eat that really good diet that I learned about, even though it will cause me to live a lot longer and feel a lot better. So,
wow.
Does this make sense?
It totally makes sense. Absolutely.
It's a huge, huge breakthrough that scientists are finding out about what drives all these things that people either want less of or want more of.
Yeah.
And so, to kind of come around to where I started, I wanted to figure out why Holosync changed people's lives so dramatically, and it's because it so dramatically calms the limbic system and enhances the prefrontal cortex.
Amazing. Well, I know that we were talking, and you're going to give everybody a free gift so they can experience this for themselves. You have a 5-day process that you take people through, and it's for free. And I would love for you to share that with everybody. We're going to actually have the link to it underneath the video so that you can go check it out right now. But do you want to describe
it? This is what we call the 5-day Holosync Challenge. And it's really so that you can see in just a few minutes a day how dramatically this will change you. The regular program is, a lot stronger than this. This is almost like a training wheels thing, but even in that sense, it is potent. And so people go to a website. They sign up for this, and then we send them a link every day for 5 days. They go to they watch a really short video, like 4 minutes long or something, of me sort of setting the stage for what we're going to do that day. Then they listen to a 14-minute sample of Holosync, and then there's a Facebook plugin below, and people can, people just put in a few sentences about what their experience was like while they were listening, and then, like when they come back for day 2, a lot of times people will put in, wow, this is what my life was like yesterday. I couldn't believe how different it was after having done that. And you can also then chat with other people, ask, so people get involved in conversations about it and that sort of a thing.
Nice community.
Just takes, a few minutes a day, and people, as people will see when they go there, the things that people are saying on there are just raving. They can't believe how this is changing their day and changing how they feel and how good it feels. You can see people describing how, even though they don't even know this is what it is, describing how their limbic system, how I feel so much calmer. Mm-hmm. All these things I was worried about when I started listening. About halfway through, I just realized there's no benefit to worrying about these things. See, the thing is, you might rationally know not to think negatively or worry about things, but as long as your limbic system is overactive, you're going to do it anyway. Mm-hmm. Once it calms down, suddenly all those things people taught you about why you don't want to do this, it just seems obvious, and you find you're not doing it.
Beautiful.
So, and then also, if people don't yet have a copy of The New Science of Super Awareness, which goes into what I've just said in a few minutes really deeply, then we'll put a link to that too, so they can go and get a free copy of. You can either get a free PDF copy of it, or if you want to pay the shipping and handling, they can get the hard copy too.
Perfect.
It's free also, but you have to pay to have it shipped to you.
Well, thank you for your generosity, and I really appreciate that. Everybody go down below the link so you can have 5 days of Bill, and you can actually get his book, and this will help you really achieve a lot more than you want when you do have a calmer limbic system, and you can have your prefrontal cortex working in the way that it's supposed to. So, any last words, Bill, before we wrap up?
I can see that your prefrontal cortex is working pretty well, and I admire the work you're doing. You're helping so many people, and we tend to run into each other at mastermind groups and charity events, and because I know you do a lot to support some of the same charities I do. So it's nice to see you again. You're really small on my screen, though.
I'm a really tiny person. Thank you, Bill. I love you. I really appreciate you as a friend, as a colleague, and I'm happy to serve with you. And I really appreciate what you do in the world. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. And everybody, leave us a comment. Let me know what you're taking away. I'd love to hear, your feedback after you go through the 5 days with Bill, and let me know how different you feel. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So as always, the best discussions happen after the episode at ChristyWhitman.com, where you can join my community, which I call my family. You'll receive free teleseminars, webinars, ebooks, videos, and much more just by being part of the community. Did you like this video? Then subscribe and share it with everybody you know. Check out these other related videos to help you get inspired and informed.